A man made a deal with the devil himself to make easy money, though he eventually had to pay with the most valuable thing that he had. In this episode, you will hear a real story that will baffle you deeply. You are watching Psychics Investigate. Here, people who call themselves clairvoyants investigate mystical anomalies and resonant criminal cases. This woman is sure that some kind of otherworldly force has been killing her family. First, she and her husband almost died in accidents they both had in their cars. A moment before each of them happened, they claimed to have felt some invisible force control them.
I felt like I was in a fog. I had a feeling of being about to faint.
And then Anna's husband, Sergei, died of a sudden heart failure.
I loved him so much. It hurt a lot. It really hurt.
The man was 39. Two boys, a 10-year-old Pavlo and a 4-year-old Dimitro, lost their father.
He was a very caring father. The boys loved him.
Her deceased husband came to her in a dream and warned Anna that she and their children would die soon. And the following night, Anna's younger son found himself on the brink of life and death.
He began vomiting.
The mother called an ambulance, but while the medics were on their way, the boy fainted. The medics, however, didn't find the cause for the boy's condition, and soon enough, Anna almost lost her life herself.
I was home alone. I was cleaning the kitchen and the fridge was connected to the extender. I clearly remember a punch on my back. I fell to the floor and overturned the bucket.
The water splashed on the extender, causing a short circuit. Anna miraculously managed to run out of the kitchen. Had she lingered a moment more, and the electricity would have killed her. The woman is certain all these events have been caused by the magic she found in her yard.
3 car air fresheners and a black thread ball.
I dumped them in the trash, but I had to burn them.
Anna's interpretation of the find is that the 3 car fresheners stand for 3 car accidents, and the black ball brings death. Anna Horbenko is 31. She's a psychologist, and she's always been skeptical about mysticism. But before he died, Anna's husband desperately wanted to see Yaroslava Fedorova, a witch and an expert of our project. Now his wife is sure that the man was right, and their family really needs help from the psychics.
I'd really like them to explain these things to me. How do I protect my boys from this?
The clairvoyant agreed to find out who has been exterminating the family with magic, and she's already working with the photo of Anna and her sons.
The card of the Harlequin, the fool. Something's wrong. I don't get it at all. This is nonsense.
Yaroslava Fedorova calls her colleague Zana Shulakova, who she asked to help her in the investigation the other day.
The cards won't listen to me.
The same here. No matter what I do, I keep getting some nonsense time after time.
The regular experts of our project set out for the investigation blindfolded. Usually, thanks to their cards and feelings, they understand, at least a little, what they deal with. Anna meets the psychics in town, and together they go to her place. There, the deceased Serhi's father is already waiting for them.
Where did you find the strange items?
Over there, under that tree.
I'd like to check the yard.
And I need water from this yard to read more information.
In the yard, the garage draws Jana Shulakova's attention immediately. What has the psychic felt?
Could you please leave me alone here?
Meanwhile, Yaroslava Fedorova is reading the information from the water.
I see a picture. A man. Pretty sturdy. And bald.
He is my husband.
He opens the gate. 3 people enter. One of them is a man. He's fair-haired and skinny. But his smile is rather weird. It looks really insincere.
He's from Serhi's work.
Serhi worked with the man with whom they were friends since childhood. They were classmates. They traded in different grains and oil-bearing plants.
Serhi and Yuri, former classmates, founded a business together, and their families were friends with one another. The man's business partner was a frequent guest here.
And a woman. She has long, fair hair.
His wife is fair-haired. This is Oksana. She's our child's godmother.
That woman envied the relationship within your family.
Yes, it's true. She told me herself.
Could the friend bring the magic?
I didn't feel the death-bearing energy from the earth in which the magic had been hidden. That is, the car crashes could have happened because of it, but not Serhi's death. The black thread ball was most probably aimed at losing money.
A year before the tragedy, Serhi really lost all his savings and ended up indebted. And the reason for that was that his partner convinced him to invest the money in a new project.
He invested quite a sum, but the business failed.
Serhi borrowed the half of the money he eventually lost from his father. Dimitro had made good money from mining crystals in Angola. After his son died, the man retired.
Something different took Serhi away, and it's not the magic that's threatening his family, but something else. I need Jana. God! Jana! People over here, quick!
Dimitro, something's burning here.
Call an ambulance.
God, there's something terrible there. The door closed itself, and then the smoke appeared. I tried to open the door to get out of there, but it felt as if somebody was holding it from the opposite side. I was trapped.
5 more minutes, and you would have been dead.
The ambulance arrives. The medics provided the psychic with the first aid.
This is some kind of unidentified gas. She breathed it. We provided the necessary aid and her condition is stable.
While Jana was coming to her senses, Yaroslava went to the garage.
It smells like sulfur.
What's the source?
I wish I knew. The car is in a good condition.
A person was murdered here. A person was cut, and his blood was drained. It was an innocent soul.
Anna and her father-in-law say nothing, but it's apparent from their reaction that they're hiding some terrible secret.
Somebody killed a child here.
Yes. My husband killed my goddaughter.
This is shocking. Anna's husband murdered a 7-year-old girl, Sonia, in cold blood. How is it even possible?
And you were here.
Yes. I was with Sonia's parents there behind the garage, and we didn't hear any sounds. Nothing at all. Nothing caught our attention.
It happened in 2016. On a warm April day, Anna, her husband, and their friends gathered for a barbecue party while their children were playing nearby. Anna's father-in-law was working in the garden. Suddenly, Serhi said he wanted to ride a bicycle.
Sonia stood up and said, "I'm going with you." Then we realized they never rode anywhere.
The man took the girl into the garage and slashed her throat. Serhi came back half an hour later, alone, without Sonia.
He looked awful, like his face was a mask. I asked him, "Serhi, where's Sonia?" But he only gave me an eerie look, then sat on the bicycle and rode away. I saw blood on him.
Everyone was scared with the girl's disappearance. They started searching for her and entered the garage.
Did you find her?
The girl's mother.
Basically, we did it together. I saw a sock. Then I found a piece of canvas in the bag, and there was the body under it. But I didn't notice that it lacked the head. Long story short, it had no legs, arms, or anything.
Gathering bags with the little girl's body parts in the garage, this man couldn't comprehend how his son could have done it.
I dragged Yana away from that canvas, and we crawled out of the garage on all fours. Her hands were covered in blood. How can someone do something like this? I don't know. Why?
I don't know how I didn't lose my mind. I'd seen many things in life, but it was awful.
Oksana Sukhomlynova goes back to the garage.
Oh my goodness.
He murdered her and...
The container over there.
Yes. Yes. The wheelbarrow with the blood was the first thing we found.
Serhiy drained the girl's blood into it.
The wheelbarrow, it was full of blood. We both cried, we wept, because we realized what was in it.
The whole town went searching for the murderer. The police arranged an ambush in the house in case Serhiy returned, and he did come back home at 12:30 at night.
He knocked on the window pane. I asked who it was. He said it was he. And that was it. I simply slipped down the wall. The shouts, the screams, the shots. My elder son woke up to the shooting. He heard it all.
However, the man didn't survive to hear his sentence. He died 10 days after he murdered Sonia. A day before he died, he asked to be transferred to cell number 13. There, Serhiy was found dead.
Acute ischemic heart disease.
So, this is how Anna's husband really died. Serhiy's neighbors still can't understand how the man who's lived next to them for so many years was capable of such cruelty.
He was a normal, absolutely adequate man. We never noticed anything unusual about him.
This is a photo of Serhiy a year before the murder, and this one was taken a week after it. What could have happened to him? What made Serhiy a cruel murderer?
We can't return Sonia or Serhiy, but we still can find out what influenced Serhiy and save Anna and her children from the imminent death.
We're going to summon the murderer's soul to ask him one serious question: why he did it, and what was controlling him.
The psychics begin performing the ritual. But something goes wrong.
I can't establish the connection, and I don't feel the soul. The soul belongs to somebody or something else.
Would you like to see the cue? Do you see the letter S?
Oh God, yes. I see it.
What did the S mean? Satan. The murder was a ritual. He sacrificed Sonia to Satan. But why would he do it? What did he want?
Our only chance to know the truth was to summon the spirit of the murdered Sonia. But to do this, we needed her family for the connection.
Sonia's mother, Yana, was Anna's best friend for years. However, after the tragedy, they can't talk to each other.
I'm hurt. I can't see her children because my child is gone.
We weren't certain whether Yana would agree to see us, but she still went outside. The woman wants to know why her family's friend took the most precious thing she had.
It's very important to me.
Take one stone, please. It's a partnership rune. It means that her soul, that is, she, agrees to communicate with us. I see her as a smiling child.
I see her in my dreams. She says nothing. She just presses herself to me and smiles. This is it.
I hear her saying, "I wasn't supposed to be the first."
He also wanted to kill my 2 boys. The police found his notebook at home, and there were the names of my 2 children and Sonia written down there.
Like a list?
Yes. But she was the last one on the list. Pavlo was first. At the police station during the interrogation, he confessed that he was going to murder him first.
This is impossible to believe. Did Serhiy plan to murder his own children? How can someone even think of such things?
Pavlo confirmed it to me, saying that all a week before, Dad had been constantly inviting him to walk in the woods. The 10-year-old boy asked me, "Mom, did Dad want to kill me in the forest?"
It turned out that apart from the victim list of the children, the police found another document among Serhi's belongings.
Was the contract with the devil, in which he promised to murder 3 children.
This was the reason his spirit wouldn't appear, was in the devil's hands.
All the last month, he spent most of his time in the kitchen. He drank there. He drank heavily. And he wrote something on some papers. When he went to work, he took them with him.
What was the form of the contract?
It was written on a piece of skin, like a cow's skin, or I don't know. It was skin.
In the old days, documents were traditionally written on parchment, the specially prepared skin of a cow or a calf.
He asked Satan for money. He asked for 1,700,000 pounds.
Wow.
And in exchange, he undertook 3 children.
I can't wrap my head around it.
As Serhi confessed during the interrogation, he'd found the text of the contract online. It was the first contract with Satan in history. A French abbot wrote it with his blood on a piece of parchment in the 17th century.
A contract with the devil is deemed impossible to revoke.
So what do we do?
It must be fulfilled. This is why Anna's children are constantly on the verge between life and death. Their father's spirit is trying to kill them. He needs to fulfill the contract.
And Serhi's spirit is trying to get rid of Anna so she can't protect the children.
We need to go to the cemetery.
Anna's husband was buried far away, outside the town. We only arrived there after dark.
He didn't have the proper burial ceremony. They said such a person couldn't be buried in earth, and that we had to throw his body in the river.
I wonder what he told you before the murder.
I'm going to do something that will shock everyone.
Why didn't you pay attention to it? You'll pay with your blood for it.
What do you mean?
You endangered your children. With your idleness, we need your blood.
Pierce your finger.
Sure.
It's burning blue. He's here. He says, "Thank you for taking her here." I finally realized why Serhi wanted to see me while he was alive. He'd signed the contract, and after he saw what he'd done, he got scared. However, there are no recipes on how to annul such contracts online. He tried to change some conditions or other things before it was too late. He was trying to change it, but failed. And when he saw your daughter, he didn't expect it. And it pushed it to do it.
What happened? He didn't get it. Who did he kill? He didn't get it. Why did he do it? He didn't get it. He didn't get anything at all. He only understood what he'd done after he returned.
He came back home himself. Did he understand what he'd done?
That was why he came back. He understood he'd be imprisoned, and he wouldn't be able to murder 2 more children.
Where did he get the whole idea from?
The father's oppression. The father's oppression.
Serhi's father provided for his family for a long time. All his life, Serhi tried to prove to him that he was worthy, but he always failed to live up to his father's expectations.
He failed to keep his father's money, and his father started blaming him. His father always told him he'd fail.
He took the devil's side willingly. He was searching for the way to change his life and the world that surrounded him.
He brought such grief to the others that for it, he, bastard Red, will burn and die 258 times. You tell him what suffering he caused to you. Like him, you're also living in hell now.
Nobody speaks to this woman anymore. She bears a mark of the wife of the murderer who killed and dismembered the little girl.
Did he understand what would be next? Did he realize it?
He read that everything would be fine. These contracts, they're very tricky. They always state that you're going to receive what you want.
And you will get it.
But you won't be happy about the price you'll have to pay.
Could you please help me?
We had to try to delay the contract because it was impossible to revoke.
The psychics carried out the sacred rituals for about an hour.
If the buyout for the contract that he signed is accepted, we'll see the sign.
All the electronics went dead.
No way.
Satan.
The buyout has been accepted.
Yes.
The contract is frozen.
I realized where I was and what exactly we were doing at that moment. Thank you. I really hope to change my attitude to life, my attitude to Anna and her children. I really hope I can do it.
The inconceivable tragedy ruined the lives of the two families. It's impossible to say if the women will ever learn to live with this. The only thing is certain, though. The desire of easy money can indeed make a person lose their mind. If you're shocked by the story, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to our channel. A lot more incredible investigations by the psychics are waiting for you. A sinister spirit accurately predicted the precise date of a woman's death. Why is death after a mother of 3? The psychics are going to solve the mystery of an old murder. You're watching Psychics Investigate, where people with paranormal powers who call themselves clairvoyants investigate true criminal cases and solve unbelievable mystical riddles. Oksana Sukhomlynova from Ukraine approached the psychics, asking for help. She's sure she knows the exact date of her death. A mysterious woman in black who keeps coming to Oksana's dreams told her it.
I can't live with it. The woman in black keeps telling me that I'll die on the 1st of November. And on top of that, she adds that it will happen at 4:30 in the afternoon.
The woman is on the verge. It's not the first time that the sinister woman in black is foretelling death in Oksana's family. She's already taken away more than 10 of her relatives.
She brings death. First, my uncle Kolya hung himself, and then Aunt Stasia jumped into the well. After that, Aunt Shura died at the dinner table, and my mother was after her. Our father simply burned in bed. There was a fire. My brother and his wife died in a car crash. I'm worried about my life because I have 3 children.
Zhana Shulikova and Olena Kurilova, 2 of the most powerful psychics in the project, agreed to help Oksana. Each of them immediately set out to meet her.
I had a vision of a beautiful young woman, but her body looked like it was pierced with some kind of spears or metal rods. And he kept asking me, release me, make me free. She's locked in some cramped space, like she's bricked up in a wall.
I'd like to take my cards and look. The cards are showing something strange. Don't touch it. You will regret.
Coincidence or not, but once the psychic pronounced these words, a severe wind blew. The cloudless sky turned black and hail started. This even appeared in the news.
A heavy downpour with strong winds and hail. The roads turned into rivers. Cars were literally floating along the streets. Apart from the rain, hail crashed on people's heads.
We can't go anywhere in such strong rain.
Somebody doesn't want us to take up the investigation.
While Oksana Sukhomlynova was being attacked by the storm, Jana Shulakova, who was going there separately, was stopped by another obstacle. Something happened to the engine of the car in which she was.
It probably overheated. We need to wait for about half an hour for it to cool down, and then we can go.
Wait a minute. I'll be right back.
The clairvoyant went off somewhere without saying a word. Jana explained her unusual behavior later on.
There was a woman's spirit standing there. She was angry and terrible, and her throat was all black. I realized somebody had murdered her, so I told her, "Show me who did it, and I'll help you." But she answered, "I'll find the one who murdered me myself, and I'll revenge myself. If you keep bothering me, you'll be next." I lit a candle, but it can't hold her back. We must leave. Let's go.
Meanwhile, Oksana and her daughters are waiting for the psychics in the street. When the neighbors saw the crew, they also joined.
Hello?
Hello, these are my children. Something weird has been going on. My breathing stops at night.
What I see in my cards now is that the mother will be taken away first. What scares me most is that I see the child.
Does it mean we can die before we create families and have children? I don't want it to be true.
I think we should go inside.
Once I entered the apartment, my legs went numb. It was a sign that I had to stop right there. But who gave the sign and what were their intentions?
Howl, something's howling here. What could it be? Oh, what is this? Died. You'll die too, and your children will die. I'll show you my revenge.
It's coming from the threshold.
After Oksana entered, her legs were giving way constantly. That is, she couldn't step over the threshold.
Give me a knife.
And what is this? We need to get it out. Oh, it's so gross.
It was meat, like it was plucked out of a bird. It was so shocking.
100% it's a dead bird. And the earth is from a grave.
I feel pressure over here.
I can't understand who did it. Who did we hurt? How is it even possible to be so cruel?
It's a death spell. And it's not all. There were other things too.
There was a mummified bat. It emerged from nowhere.
Anything can be a death charm if you impose a negative magic program on it that would cause death, illnesses, impecuniosity, scandals, divorce, and other things. But if you use a dead creature for it, no matter if it's an animal, a bird, or an insect, then it's definitely a death charm.
It was an awful sight. That bat, a dried bat. I called a neighbor, and when she came, she suggested that I should burn it.
She did it right with the bat, and we had to destroy the next charm and understand who had been planting all those things on her apartment.
Who hates you?
I can only suspect one person.
Oh, I don't like it. The woman warned that it was revenge for ruining her family. Did you convince her husband to leave her?
I didn't convince him to leave her. He's Diana's father. I never even claimed he was mine.
It turned out that the father of Oksana's younger daughter is a married man named Alexander. She met him at work. at the local administration. The woman was a secretary there, and the man was its legal advisor.
We started to communicate, and then one evening, he phoned me and said, "How do you like the idea of me waking up at yours tomorrow morning?" I didn't get it, but he still arrived.
Oksana knew Oleksandr had a wife and children, but she anyway allowed him to stay for the night, and then again and again. As a result, she got pregnant.
It was done deliberately. We were going to start living together. He filed for a divorce, and we planned everything carefully, but then he broke up with me and left.
Oleksandr didn't explain anything and simply broke up with the pregnant Oksana. She suspects the sudden change couldn't have happened without the magic influence of this family.
He told me that his mother and wife had put a spell to make him come back to the family.
Returning your husband to the family might be noble, but the mechanism of the spell is such that the mistress ends up cursed. I won't be surprised if the spirit that Oksana has been seeing in her dreams is the woman who is bound to her home with the charm made with the earth from the grave.
The only person I could think of is Irina. She always blamed me for ruining her family.
Could you kindly take us to where that woman lives?
After Jana Shulakova has neutralized the charm, everybody goes to the place where the father of Oksana's younger daughter lives.
We would like to talk to you, please.
Soon afterward, Oksana's lover, Oleksandr, appears in the door.
There are a bunch of deaths there.
In this family,
I know.
God forbid if your wife or somebody else from your family, like your mother-in-law or I don't know who else, has something to do with it.
Both my mother and Irina swear they didn't go anywhere or didn't do anything.
But you told me yourself that they went to see a sorceress. Didn't you tell me this?
We'd like to talk to Irina.
Oleksandr is taking a huge risk, as it's impossible to tell the consequences of the meeting of his wife and his mistress.
She knew that we were married, but she still interfered in our life.
I'm aware of it.
She almost ruined our life, and now she dares to come here. I never wished anything bad to anybody, and I never hurt anyone in my life.
Then why did Uncle Oleksandr say that you'd been at a sorceress?
I never saw anybody.
Could it be your mother?
We didn't see her for black magic.
Then why did you go to see her?
To ask her to return the husband to his family.
And how can a sorceress return a husband to his family? You never cared about it.
The sorceress made the charm and planted it under the mistress's door. And she technically did it right. She did what her customer asked her and didn't care that it would simply kill the mistress.
The sorceress was simply a professional who did what she was asked. But her customer would be the one who bears the responsibility.
My death would give her relief. She would be relieved to know that I had finally passed away, but it wouldn't make her happy.
The thing is that he told me it wasn't his baby, and he wasn't going to return there ever in his life.
The classic scheme, the man tells his mistress one thing and his wife an entirely different thing. And now he is mute as a fish, as every word could potentially be used against him.
I think Oleksandr was scared himself because he had envisioned that this could happen.
The women got so heated that they dragged all the skeletons from Oleksandr's wardrobe.
He lives in a separate room from Irina. He doesn't sleep with her.
This is how wives find out that nobody has slept with them for the recent 5 years.
One of us hears one thing, and the other hears something absolutely different.
The cheated women go outside, while the man runs away before it gets worse.
I never wished anything bad for you, or especially your children.
It was just this text. Your kids go to school. There's a graveyard not far from yours. Watch out, or they may not return one day.
This is my sister-in-law.
Irina means Oleksandr's sister. She sent Oksana the texts with threats. This means that the cheated wife has nothing to do with it.
Any dirty word or every black word will influence the children's well-being.
I never wished anything bad to anybody.
Irina, he will never enter my home anymore, I promise.
The woman in black that Oksana sees in her dreams, and that's been taking away her relatives one by one, was not a dead woman bound to her home with the charm, as we thought earlier. But who could she be then?
The psychics decided to return to Oksana's.
and then I paid attention to the mirror. There was something inside it.
Oh dear, my God.
Oh.
Here it is. It fell out of the mirror.
Look, she's got holes in her belly.
This is insane. The photo is indeed pierced through. But who is the woman in it, and how is she connected with the tragedies in Oksana's family?
Whose mirror is this? Is it yours?
It was here when I moved in.
Who is this? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Then I recalled her. I'd seen her in the morning during the preparation for the investigation. Her body was pierced with some kind of spears, and she kept asking me, "Release me! Release me!"
As it turned out, Oksana moved into this apartment about 15 years ago. She didn't know its previous owners, and she never took an interest in who they were or what they did.
Nobody knows who she is.
The cards show me a pregnant woman dying.
I lived here. I looked into the mirror and I saw my face. My husband is wearing epaulets. It's like he was building his career. He was probably a military man since he was wearing the epaulets. And the mirror was a gift. I was given it and told to hang it.
It turned out that 30 years ago, a family without children lived in Oksana's apartment. The woman's every pregnancy ended in tragedy.
Her babies died.
He was a morale officer at the local police office.
Well, I see why she couldn't give birth. Her husband was given a good present. The mirror with her photo pierced with needles.
Considering that the man had a high rank, the motive is obvious. Envy. Black envy.
During her last pregnancy, the woman died with the baby. After that, the neighbors feared to live in the building, as they all were having nightmares.
The woman had a few disrupted pregnancies and died painfully. After her death, she couldn't go to the other world and spent 30 years locked in the mirror. Now I see why her spirit was so aggressive. We had to perform a highly dangerous ritual in order to remove the spirit of the woman locked in the mirror and break the link between her and Oksana. Only Oksana is going with us. Since you're hypersensitive, you'll see, hear, and feel everything. Anything can happen.
It was a shock. Elena was reciting a prayer over me. I felt light warmth around my body, and then I felt a push, and Elena and I fell on the floor.
Did you feel weakness in your arms and legs?
Were they numb?
They're still trembling.
The feelings that Oksana described told me that the prayers worked. The link with the dead woman was destroyed, and she couldn't hurt Oksana anymore.
But it turned out that during the ritual, Oksana had a vision. She saw the woman who's been tormenting her in her nightmares, and she saw her face clearly. And it wasn't the apartment's ex-owner from the photo. It was a different woman.
I heard the voice. It was calling me. Oksana! Oksana! I opened my eyes and saw a white woman with fair hair. She was dressed in a long gown with a pattern of orange flowers on it.
The woman in black and the woman in orange are both the same spirit, and I had seen it that morning, on the outskirts, not far from the garages.
Why does she sometimes come dressed in black?
A spirit, by the way, can appear in the clothes in which a person was buried, or in which they were at the moment of death. In this case, the woman seemed to have been buried in black, but she died wearing orange, as Oksana described.
But who is this woman, and why is she seeking revenge on Oksana? Where can she be found, and how can she be stopped?
I've been there. I left my candle there. I'll find the place.
The psychics are going to the site where Jana Shulakova stopped earlier this morning.
Oh, here it is.
Once we arrived there, the woman that Oksana has been seeing in her dreams, and that's been saying she'd die on the 1st of November, emerged. She began talking to me. Mariana, is that you? She told me. Dad.
Is Mariana's father a murderer?
Yes.
The tragedy occurred when Mariana was little. Her father, Sergei, strangled the woman, who came to give him her shoes to repair.
He made shoes and repaired them. When the woman came to him, they had a quarrel, and he strangled her.
This is the place where she died. She has 2 children left.
I don't know her.
She's mad. She's so mad. She's furious at the man. He's guilty, but I see he's taken legal responsibility for it.
I was 13 when he was released from prison. Now he has a new family and a new daughter. I never talked to him after that.
But if Oksana's husband has already been punished, then why does the murdered woman's spirit keep seeking revenge, and not on her murderer, but on his wife and children?
You're not a murderer, but you're a witness. More so, you're an idle witness.
He came home and told me he'd murdered somebody. He was drunk, and he went to sleep immediately. I waited until the morning. What else could I do?
Why didn't you call the police?
Had Oksana called the police immediately, the woman could have probably been saved.
She was alive at that moment. She was in a coma.
It was late at night. I had a little baby. I didn't know if those things he had told me were true or not. I thought he was hallucinating because he'd been drinking heavily those days. And only when he was taken by the police did I learn the truth.
It turned out that the police only found the murderer a week into the investigation. Oksana had been silent about his crime. So the victim sees her as his accomplice.
It happened in November.
This is why she's been mentioning the date.
My husband killed her on the 1st of November because he was arrested on the 8th.
The dead woman told Oksana the date on purpose. The spirit wanted her to know of her suffering.
Now I see the problem. But how can we solve it?
Jana, can I have your candle? Look at the flame and repeat after me. In the name of the Lord.
In the name of the Lord.
The psychics and Oksana were praying for a long time, asking the supreme forces to stop the woman from the world of the dead, from going to the world of the living.
I am deeply sorry you couldn't raise your children. Please don't take revenge on me.
You're going to be fine. Goodbye.
Thank you so much for helping me.
Sometime later, after the 1st of November, Oksana called us to share the good news. Her family was finally doing great.
Thank God I'm alive and it's all over.
Do you still see the woman in black in your dreams?
No, I don't see her anymore. Thank God things got back to normal.
It is not without reason that say that inaction and indifference are sinful. Because of her idleness, the woman inflicted misery on herself and her family. If you're impressed by the story, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel. Many more incredible stories are ahead. A merciless murderer from the beyond is taking the members of the same family to the other world, one by one. What skeletons are the poltergeist's victims hiding in their wardrobes? And what do they owe the ghost? Welcome to Psychics Investigate, a channel of true stories about mystical riddles and criminal cases, solved by people with extra abilities who call themselves psychics. Anna Horyacheva from Ukraine contacted the psychics, asking for help. The woman frequently sees a ghost, and she's certain it's her father.
I go to sleep, and when I wake up, I see a ghost close by. It's so close that I can feel its breath. I'm so scared.
And every time after seeing the ghost, Anna finds herself in danger. First, right in the middle of the street, she fell into a manhole. After that, Anna was almost squeezed to death by a malfunctioning elevator door. And then she was electrocuted. And last week, a motorcycle hit Anna while she was crossing the road.
I was dragged along the asphalt and thrown under a car. The drivers of the passing cars stopped and called an ambulance.
Anna is sure it's not a coincidence. Her elder sister, Lyubov, also saw the ghost fairly regularly. And she's dead now. The woman, pregnant with twins, was beaten to death by a stranger in the street.
She was all bruised. He beat her everywhere. She was pregnant. It was extremely hard to see this.
The man didn't steal anything, and he immediately fled the scene. People heard Lyubov screaming and called an ambulance. The woman was taken to the emergency department, but her injuries were fatal. Lyubov didn't survive.
I was the last one to see her in the hospital before she died. I arrived there, but she barely heard me.
Anna was looking into the eyes of her dying sister, who was whispering terrible words.
You're next. It was awful.
But the weirdest thing is that Anna's father loved his children when he was alive. There were 6 of them in the big family, 2 sons and 4 daughters, to whom their father was a model of an ideal man.
He was perfect. He had a good, mild character.
Anna's mother died when the girl was 7. The father had to raise the 6 children alone.
Of course, we had difficult times. There were 6 of us, so we always had problems with the money, but we were never hungry.
The woman says that after her mother died, her father didn't give up and did the best he could. But the terrible loss eventually broke him. The man was diagnosed with cancer. He desperately fought the condition for many years until it finally took his life.
He had pains. When Lyubov and I last saw him in the hospital, it was the first time I'd ever seen him sobbing. It was the last time we saw our father.
But even in her nightmares, Anna couldn't have imagined that her loving father could become a murderous spirit who would be hunting his own children.
I couldn't even imagine it would ever be possible.
Anna is 30. Her greatest dream is to become a mother. And she wants to marry, so she's begging the psychics to help her.
The psychics are my last and only hope.
The project's psychics, Jana Shulakova and Olga Kalinova from the Czech Republic, took up the investigation. They immediately set out to see Anna.
When I tuned in to their father yesterday, the cards showed me something very strange. Unrequited love, then rape.
This is horrific. Could Anna's father rape anybody?
I had a strange dream. A young woman wearing a wreath of white flowers. She held out the wreath to me and said, "I can't kill anymore." She's here, and she says her name is Lyudmila. The woman showed me her grave. There were purple flowers on it, and I felt that she died in the last days of winter, almost on her birthday.
We need to ask Anna. She might know her.
Anna is a cargo crane operator. She has just finished her shift, and the psychics meet her in the downtown.
Hello?
Hello?
I'm relieved to see you.
Could you hold it, please?
Anna, did you happen to know a deceased woman named Lyudmila? She died in later winter, almost on her birthday.
I have no idea who it could be.
It's weird. Then why did her spirit visit us?
Who could be pushing Anna into the other world? Is it her father? Or could it be the mysterious woman who Olga Kalinova saw in her dream?
Do you have a photo of your deceased sister?
I do.
I'd like to tune into her energy to know what kind of force took her away.
Yes.
I see her next to you.
Immediately after they started talking, felt the warmth spreading on my left arm and leg.
My feelings tell me that your sister indeed fell prey to some kind of spirit, but she claims your father didn't kill her. It wasn't him. Your father loved you a lot. He's like a guarding angel. He's protecting you. This is the only reason you're still alive.
If it's not her father, then who's to blame for Anna constantly being in danger? The energy of Anna's sister's spirit didn't let the psychics tune in and concentrate, so they went further away from the place where they communicated with the woman's spirit.
At that moment, the cards showed me another death. A young man, Anna's blood relative. He was taken away by the same otherworldly force. It must be your brother.
Yes, my elder brother. It came as a surprise for everyone. It happened before the new year. My sister called me and said our brother was dead.
This is horrendous. Another death in the family. It turned out Anna's brother Valerie had a heart attack. He was only 31.
I have a feeling that everyone in your family bears the death mark.
Could we see your other relatives now?
Yes.
Anna phones her sisters and brother. Soon afterward, they arrive to see the psychics.
Hello, my name is Olho.
Valentina.
Serhi.
Hold the cards in your hands, please. The moment I took the cards from Olha, I saw the same woman from my vision standing behind her. With her hand, she reached out to Olha's heart.
Ow, something's squeezing. Ouch.
Give her water. Let her sit down. Breathe. Breathe deeper. Breathe. Breathe. Take a breath. Are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine. Yes.
The dead woman did it. This is her who is killing your family. She's going to take you all away, one by one. But most probably, the dead woman didn't want to kill those people. Some kind of magic spell made her a murderer. It was done by some woman. I hear her saying, "If I don't get what is mine, I'll destroy them. They're going to die like puppies." Who could wish something like this to you?
Our neighbor. Yes, she could curse us.
The cards showed me that the woman was allegedly trying to become these children's mother, but she failed for some reason, and she's borne a grudge ever since.
She had no children.
Did she want to adopt you?
Yes.
To see if the neighbor is really connected to the deaths in the family, I tuned into the past, to the moment when the children lost their mother. What I saw there horrified me. Your mother, her death was terrible.
Yes, she died, giving birth.
She delivered Serhi, and when the doctors left her, she bled to death.
But I don't understand why your neighbor wanted to take you away. You had the father.
He was disabled. He used to work at the factory and a pipe fell on his foot and injured him.
After his wife died, the man had to work several jobs to provide for his children. Once, he seriously injured his foot and ended up disabled. Social services became interested in the family right away. Fortunately, the grandmother took custody of the children.
Our grandma was a brilliant person. I'm so grateful to her that I can't.
The cards told me the same force that took 2 of her children killed your mother. And this happened because of the magic of the woman with whom your mother had a conflict. Did your mother have a conflict with your neighbor?
Yes, they conflicted a lot.
Where does that woman live?
Where we grew up.
Is it far from here?
It's 10 kilometers away.
10 minutes later, the psychics arrived there. Anna and her sisters and brother left the village long ago, and their grandmother, who they used to visit here, died a few years ago.
This is where she lives, and that is our house.
Hello.
Hello. We're helping this family.
I know these ladies. Such beauties they are. They grew up without their father and mother.
but how beautiful they are. But I haven't seen Serhii for a long time. I barely recognize him. Well, you look at this handsome young man.
You're saying such good things about them, but they told us you cursed them and their mother and wished them all death.
I never cursed them. God forbid. You know how it is in a village? Maybe I did get angry one day, but it's really nothing.
My cards told me that the woman didn't practice magic, and her curse was ordinary swearing. Besides, she didn't mean evil to anybody in this family. You swore because you were deeply unhappy. You couldn't control yourself, looking at the happy woman, a mother of many children. I feel now that your greatest wish in life was to give birth to a child.
Of course it was. But God's will for me was to live without any children.
You're alone and you're also alone. Help them, please. And you help her, please, as neighbors.
Thank you, children. There wasn't a day when I didn't think of you. I thought of you every day.
It turned out she never meant evil to nobody. She's unhappy, but she's not evil.
She's here, the dead woman in the wreath. She's entered the yard.
The window pane cracked. I'm terrified.
I have goosebumps.
I looked around and recognized the yard. Jana. The dead woman turned this house into ruins. I saw it in my vision.
The dead woman won't stop until she deals with everyone in the family. The love that was attempted to be taken by force is the reason for that. I see an outraged, offended woman in this yard. She's arguing with your mother. She's shouting, "You must leave him."
Dad?
He's a bastard. He's a rapist.
A rapist?
We don't know this woman, but there was such a story.
Grandma told us.
There was a woman who asked Dad to give her a lift on his motorcycle. Dad had an Ural with a sidecar. She asked him to give her a lift somewhere where it was too far to walk. Long story short, he did it, but she then claimed he'd raped her.
Did she tell your mother this?
Yes.
But your mother tells her to go away. She says, "You're lying, go away from here."
Wait, but the cards are telling me that your father was detained by the police because of the rape.
She complained to the police. They arrived and said he'd raped her and that they had a claim from the victim.
So they took Dad and put him in jail.
Wait. What if the woman who blamed their father put the death spell on the family and is killing all of its members?
It's quite possible. But who can tell us the truth about this woman?
Dad. Only Dad knew who she was.
We need to summon his spirit.
Where is he buried?
It's not far from here.
The father of the family and his wife and children are buried in the same cemetery. 15 minutes later, the psychics are there.
We summoned your father's spirit, but your mother is also here. She says she's happy to see you as adults. She loves you so much.
Mum, why didn't I see you in my dreams? Why won't you visit me?
Your mother says she didn't want to scare you, but she's always been around.
We miss you so much.
We miss your advice and your embrace.
I still remember her scent. I couldn't sleep. And if I did sleep, it was only pressing her gown to me. That was the only option possible. Mum, it was so hard for me.
My children. I wish I could embrace each of you. I wish I could embrace you, son, because you've never seen me in your life.
I love you too. For a moment, I felt motherly warmth, as if I was embracing my mom. I don't think you can ever feel something like this if you never saw your mother.
I've always been around. I lulled you in the cradle, and I was next to you when you were ill.
Anna recalls that after her little brother was brought from the hospital, his cradle rocked itself.
Grandma told me that she once woke up to someone singing a lullaby, and she said the cradle was rocking itself. Mom came to lull him, so he would sleep. I felt warmth in Mom's scent.
I feel like Mom is embracing me. Mom, visit us more often. It might be in a dream, but please come to talk to me.
And your father, he's standing and crying.
Wait, was your father's guilt proven in court?
No, he was released because of the lack of evidence.
This woman wanted to punish the man for his refusal to be with her. It's a revenge. The revenge caused by female jealousy.
She was head over heels in love with him, so she claimed it. So Mom would leave him because he allegedly raped someone.
I felt that the man simply talked to this woman cheerfully at some celebration. But she fell in love with him and decided to take him away from the family, whatever it took her.
She used lies and slander. But when it didn't work, the woman decided to use magic to get rid of her rivals.
She was looking for the hands that would kill the whole family, and she succeeded in it. It's the woman that you saw.
The dead woman in the wreath. She's standing behind you.
Hush, hush.
Water! Water! Water!
The woman in the wreath grabbed me by the hand. I'm all right. This woman who's killing, her grave is nearby. We need to find her real quick. Oh God, this is her, the dead woman in the wreath of white flowers. Her name is Lyudmila, the purple flowers and the date of her death, late winter. She died almost on her birthday.
We don't know this woman.
We don't even know who she was.
You don't necessarily need to know her. She doesn't want to kill you. She was forced to do so by magic. The magic was done by the woman who loved your father.
I see tiny white flowers. It's a wedding wreath.
Mom wore a similar white wreath for her wedding.
The grandmother told her grandchildren that some woman from their village asked their mother for her wedding wreath, claiming she wanted it for her own wedding.
And Mom gave her the wreath.
Your mom's rival asked the village woman to take the wreath from your mom, and then she buried it in the grave. The desperate marriage wrecker made this stranger's spirit a murderer.
And I can't take the wreath.
God, please do something.
We could only carry out the ritual to break the deal. Olga and I recited special prayers that break spells. Anna and her sisters and brother had to address the dead woman to ask her to leave them alone forever.
Lyudmila, please leave us alone. May your soul have peace. Please, I beg you, let us live normal lives.
Let go of us, please. I'm begging you from the bottom of my heart.
I feel that she'll leave you. She won't touch your family, but she'll go where the guilty person is.
The woman who made her do it?
It is her right to revenge. We can't stop her.
You are going to be all right.
Thank you so much. We are extremely grateful.
It is hard to believe what a terrible magic crime the passion for someone else's husband can force a woman to commit. However, having received no love, she wished for so much. The unlucky marriage wrecker will have to suffer the punishment she deserved. If you're impressed by this mystical story, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to our channel. Many more incredible investigations are coming.